I'm Brent Graham. You're watching Good for the Game TV, and you're live for our English Premier League show, which takes place every Thursday night, or at least every Thursday night when there is English Premier League on the weekend, and that's at 10 o'clock. We have, of course, had two shows already this evening. GG Gaming Gone Mad. We'll touch on that in the show because there's a couple of promos on around the soccer, which we will mention as well. And then we had our flagship rugby show, The Handicap, at 9 o'clock. If you're into your rugby betting, you can catch that on our YouTube channel. It will be available and still highly relevant up until the international matches kick off. But joining me from his studio down there in Neisner, it's at Good for the Game on Twitter, Chris Sturdy. Chris, good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Brent. Maybe not quite the box office that you had on earlier with Jeremy Brockie from Sundowns joining you on one of the earlier shows there, but we'll do our best to find some winners this weekend in England.
Excellent. Yeah, I really enjoyed having Jeremy Brockie on the show, and interesting, he's not a punter, but he certainly has opinions on games. And yeah, if you'd actually followed him, if you'd followed his tips in recent weeks, you'd have been doing okay from the betting angle.
Yeah, well done, Jeremy. It sounds like he's on a good run there, and he came across as a very down-to-earth guy, Brent. It's very refreshing when you see these guys that you see on TV, and then all of a sudden they're on one of your shows. And I thought he was a really, really nice guy. Yeah.
Well, welcome to ZA Punter, the first chap to come on the live post and just said good evening to us. Chris, we've got a full house of 10 English Premier League fixtures to get through. I know you and I both agree the main focus will be on the same matches. We'll start on the Saturday looking for any value. Perhaps just before we start, how did you go last week?
Last week was okay, Brent, and then midweek started off all right as far as preview picks go and the Champions League, and then I had a disaster in-play punting. Liverpool game away in Belgrade. Over 2.5 goals in play just before. So I thought, well, I'm in now because Liverpool are going to win this game. And then Belgrade scored again, and I'm like, 2-0. And I thought, well, it's just a matter of time. Liverpool have got to score. Didn't turn out. Hey,
I think a lot of people would have
got really burned on Tuesday and then couldn't find anything Wednesday. So not a great week so far, mate. Let's hope it improves now.
Yeah, we could only hope it improves. Good to have Oracle Rugby, Yaka Okamp joining the show. Peter Paul is on as well. So yeah, looking forward to chatting soccer for the boys. Let's get straight into the Saturday games, Chris. And we've got Cardiff City up against Brighton. Looking at the betting here, you've got Cardiff just over 15-10 and just over 2-1 on Brighton.
Yeah, Cardiff favourites, should they be? One win all season, I think. Struggling, beaten at home by Leicester last week. Brighton, certainly not spectacular, but can be solid enough. They're just below halfway, 14 points from 11. Keep that sort of ratio going. They've got nothing to worry about. Only 4 of those points came away from home, though. But yeah, I couldn't have Cardiff as favourites. Thought about the draw. Brighton, draw no bet, 21-20. That's what I came up with for this one, Brent.
Brighton, draw no bet. So in that case, the double chances where you get the draw and the win. Here, the draw, you just get your money back. But obviously, if the team win, you win. So I like that one on this case because it's a fairly even game according to the books. And it's almost one of those, you're either going for the draw or like you've done there, you take the draw no bet option. So Brighton, who did string a bit of a run together not that long ago, hopefully can get things back on track. Let's move on then to our next game on the card, and I suddenly lost my place on the net. It's Huddersfield up against West Ham. Now, Chris, if you watch the GG Gaming show, Brockie does fancy West Ham for the win here, and there's 13-10 available with Huddersfield outsiders at 5-2.
Yeah, well, Brockie's record speaks for itself over the last few weeks. I'm not so sure about this one, though. I watched Huddersfield Monday night against Fulham. First win, finally. 11th attempt, but they finally got their first win. Still, though, it's only 5 goals all season. Monday night's winner was their first one at home. Yeah, you know, that sort of leans towards West Ham, doesn't it? But West Ham, yeah, I don't know. Good win last week, put 4 goals past Burnley. They average a point a game overall, but only 4 points from 5 road trips. I've gone with a draw, Brent, and correct score, 1-1, 11-2.
Right, the draw and correct score 1-1 at 11-2 in that game. Let's have a look then at the next game. I think it involves Leicester, and I believe we've got some strong views on Leicester on the live comments here as well. We've got Leicester 4-9 at home against Burnley, who you can back at around about the 7-1 mark, Chris.
Yeah, we talked about Leicester last week with the away game at Cardiff, which they won. Credit to them, particularly after what happened with the disaster there at the stadium the week before. After that win at Cardiff, I believe they were straight off to Thailand to attend the owner's funeral. How long they've been back in the country, I'm not so sure. Home game, still going to be lots of emotion knocking around, I'm sure. But Burnley lost the last 3 and they conceded 13 goals, 5 against Manchester City, 4 at home to Chelsea, and then 4 away at West Ham. So Burnley, big problems there in defence. Yeah, I don't know, Brent. Peter Paul, if he's on there, I know he likes his 2 to 3 goals in total. He was ribbing me earlier about he's going for that. So let's put that one up for Peter Paul. 2 to 3 goals in total in the game covers a number of outcomes you could see here. Just a shade under even money.
Funny, I had a look at this game, and I'm sure Peter Paul will have a chuckle at your comment there as well. But I did see, I think it was Z.A. Punter saying he's big on Leicester -1. Now, when I looked at this game, I had a similar view. I think Leicester can win this, and I think Leicester can win it comfortably. And Z.A. Punter, I see 13 to 10, Leicester -1. You and I are in the same camp in this one. And, of course, for us to win that bet, we need Leicester to win by more than a goal. And I've just been quite impressed with them. Although, like you say, Chris, perhaps not one to be steaming into, but they look well capable of getting something there.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's move on. Newcastle, which was one of Brocky's picks, up against Bournemouth, who still flying pretty high. I think they're 6th or 7th on the table, Chris? But they face a Newcastle side now that have finally won their first game of the season. Newcastle 18 to 10, Bournemouth slight favourites at 16 to 10, and you can get just under 5 to 2 the draw.
Yeah, Newcastle, another team that had to wait until last week for the first victory of the season. They'll take plenty from it as well. 1-0 at home to, was it Watford, Brent? I believe.
Yes, it certainly was Watford. Thanks.
Your beloved Watford let us down there because I didn't think they'd get beat, to be honest. But yeah, can they go in again? I don't know. Bournemouth, unlucky against Man U in some respects. The winning goal came deep in injury time, I think. So, they lost nothing in defeat confidence-wise, for sure. Been a little bit hit and miss away from home. But, yeah, tough one. Newcastle won't want to, if they lose this one, it's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back in there. And you got to take something from your home games all the time. But Bournemouth, no mugs. Another draw for me here, Brent. I think around 24 to 10.
Right, 24 to 10, the draw for you. Z.A. Punter saying Newcastle comfortable win. And just to go back to the Leicester game, no, was it the Leicester game that, Oracle saying with all the travel, he's going Burnley draw, no bet for him in that game. So some differences of opinion. Takes us into our final game for Saturday, Crystal Palace up against Tottenham. Palace cost me some money a while ago when they drew 2-2 with Arsenal at home, Chris. And they now face a Spurs side that must be quite weary. They've been playing a lot of football.
Yeah, they have, but they've held things together in the Premier League pretty well when you consider how busy they've been in Europe. Things haven't always been going well for Spurs in Europe, but they did come from behind to win 2-1 at home to PSV in midweek, and that was on that horrible Wembley pitch. And look, I've considered everything here, Brent. Remember a couple of weeks ago, most of us were on Arsenal to beat Palace, weren't we, at Selhurst Park, and it ended in a 2-2 draw, and Palace were good value for that. And this is a similar sort of test when you look at it, isn't it? Now, last week, Palace beaten 3-1 at Chelsea. To be honest, I don't think Chelsea had to really get out of second gear to beat them, which is a worry, and the defending wasn't great. So I can see goals here, but so can the bookmakers. I looked at over 2.5 goals. I looked at both teams to score yes. 7 to 10, probably about right in the price, but a little bit shorter than what I like to put up. I looked at the away win, 17 to 20 for Spurs to win. And then I thought about Arsenal a couple of weeks back and how that cost us. And I sort of went off that. I looked at corners. Over 10.5 corners is a shade over even money. I went back and checked the Palace-Arsenal game 2 weeks ago, how many corners. There was exactly 10. So that one put me off as well. And then I looked at over 2.5 goals and Spurs win, which was around 15 to 10. And yeah, either that or Spurs to score twice. Spurs over 1.5 goals, 15 to 20, I see as a fairly safe bet. Over 2.5 goals in the game and Spurs to win, 29 to 21 for the more adventurous.
Right, the boys on the live chat had some differences of opinion here. Certainly, some of them saying Spurs a bit vulnerable after European competition. And what do you think of this one? Vin Naidu going Harry Kane, anytime goal scorer around the 8 to 10 mark, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, having said that, I fancy Spurs to score at least twice, and you got to fancy that Kane, is reasonably priced at 8 to 10 in the anytime market. They can share the goals around, and he's not been quite as prolific as what many might expect. But he's always there. I mean, at Wolves last week, they raced into a 3-0 lead. They got themselves into a 3-0 lead, but they were hanging on badly at the end with Spurs, and that's a little bit what put me off the away win. Harry Kane 8 to 10, I wouldn't argue with Vin there.
Harry Kane 8 to 10. Yeah, it's a game I also looked at quite carefully, and a bit like you, I actually struggled a little bit. But let's move on to Sunday's fixtures, because we've got 4 fixtures on Sunday, which is quite a busy Sunday. We don't normally have so many on. We've got Liverpool up against Fulham. Liverpool 1 to 8 favourites. Fulham you can get over 20 to 1, which means, Chris, that you really got to be looking to the exotic markets.
Yeah, definitely, and especially after Liverpool let me down in midweek, I'm a little bit reluctant to get involved in this, Brent. There was nothing wrong with a 1-1 draw at Arsenal last time out. I thought it was a cracking game. They're still only 2 points behind City. Still unbeaten, 8 wins, 3 draws. They've only conceded 1 goal at home. And when they've been hosting struggling sides, they were 4-1 winners against Cardiff. That was the goal they conceded. And they were 3-0 winners against Southampton, another game where they were barely tested, really. Fulham, it goes from bad to worse, 1-0 loss at Huddersfield. I don't know whether any of the lads on the comments section, there was talk that the coach might get the chop at Fulham, but I don't know whether he's survived the week or not. If he is there, whether he'll still be there on Monday morning after going to Liverpool, I'm not so sure. But it's 5 defeats in a row now for them, and only 2 points from the last 8 league games. Away against top sides, got beat 3-1 at Spurs, got beat 3-0 at City. Also recently, they got beat 3-1 at Everton, so there's a bit of a habit there of conceding 3 goals when they travel. Liverpool clean sheet, 8 to 10. That took my eye, given Liverpool have only conceded once at home. Salah, first goal scorer, 19 to 10. First goal scorer. There's about 6 Liverpool players odds on to score any time. Right. That was about all I could find for this one, Brent.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it looks a tough one. It often is tough like that when you've got such a strong favourite. But let's move on to the next game on Sunday. It's Chelsea up against Everton. Chelsea 9 to 20 favourites here. Everton 6 to 1. And 4 to 1 the draw, which struck me as quite a big price, and interestingly enough was part of Brockie's accumulator.
Yeah, Brockie's obviously latching on to Everton's improved form. They've won 3 of their last 4. But this is tough, eh? I mean, Chelsea's still unbeaten. 8 wins, 3 draws, only 2 points behind City, just above Liverpool on goal difference. 5 clean sheets, but only 1 at home. I latched onto this last week and backed both teams to score with Chelsea and Palace. And Palace scored with about their only attempt on target in the game. So I was maybe a little bit lucky, but nonetheless, I'd take it. Everton haven't scored against Chelsea in their last 4 league games, Brent. But they have found the net in 4 of 5 away from home this season. I was going to go both teams to score, yes, as one of my better bets. And then I saw 7 to 10 and didn't really appeal. Morata scored a couple of times last week. He's slightly over even money to score any time. Maybe he's finding his feet now at Chelsea. So Morata any time, 21 to 20.
21 to 20, just over even money. Nothing wrong with that. Just as you asked about the Fulham manager, Vin Naidu says he's there, but he's probably gone by Monday. So agree with you on that one. And Z.A. Punter says Fulham are just busy with Alan Pardew's contract. Obviously implying that they're first going to make sure they got the incoming manager before they get rid of the one that's on the way out. And
okay.
could be a few managerial changes coming up. Let's move on then to Arsenal up against Wolves. Arsenal are firm favourites here at 13 to 20, 4 to 1 Wolves, and just over 3 to 1 the draw.
Yeah, difficult to argue with Arsenal, I guess. Although what I would say is that Wolves finished really strongly against Spurs. It's 3 losses in a row now for Wolves, but I actually think that they'll take quite a bit from the last hour or so of the Spurs game, and they had Spurs absolutely hanging on at the end. If they can repeat that sort of performance, I can see them at least scoring. Most notable away result this season when it comes to going to big clubs Draw at Man U 1-1, so they got themselves on the score sheet there. Difficult to argue with Arsenal in the form that they're in. And what I came up with, Arsenal win the game, but both teams will score. And 7-4 was the price. And I quite like that one.
Yeah, 7-4 Arsenal to win and both teams to score. I do like that as well. This Oracle Rugby's got a bit distracted on the comments column, and he started talking about manager sackings. He's gone for old Michael Checker, the Australian manager. He's been calling for him to be sacked for ages. But I think it was Yako Okam says Checker will take Australia close to the World Cup, and Oracle says only on Xbox. I enjoyed that one, I must say. Had all the boys having a bit of a
maybe Checker will take over at Fulham from the guy at Fulham, eh?
That's what I think. He could slap the guys around a bit there. I wouldn't like to get on Checker's wrong side. And yeah, maybe one day Oracle and Checker will get to meet. Interested to see what happens there. But let's move on to the big game of the weekend, Chris. No doubt about that. Manchester City against Manchester United. City were in rampant form again in midweek in Europe. I mean, when they're on song, they're unplayable. But Manchester United come from behind to beat Juventus. That was on the road, was it? I didn't watch. But they're going to have to take some confidence out of that, surely.
Yeah, definitely. I watched the game. I was on Juve to score 2 goals, and I had to wait, I don't know, over an hour, I think it was, for Juve to break the deadlock. Lovely goal from Ronaldo. And for the next 15 minutes or so, Juve ripped them to pieces, and United were hanging on. Then they get a free kick near the end, United, and Mata curls it in beautifully. 1-1, and you're thinking, well, they'll take that. That's a typical Mourinho sort of result. And lo and behold, they pop up an own goal, gives them the points. Juve must have been wondering, how did we lose that? Yeah, but United did play well. They had to work hard, really hard, and they're going to have to do the same this Sunday, at City, because City are flying. I mean, away from all the goals they're scoring in Europe, just looking at the league stats, Brent, they've won all 6 at home, 24 goals scored, 3 conceded. Most of those home games, though, were against struggling sides or even, mid-table. So this is their first home game against one of the big guns. But away from home, they've won at Arsenal and Spurs with clean sheets, and another clean sheet in a 0-0 draw at Liverpool. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of there in the stats if you're back in City. And I know Brocky was on City to win by 2 goals or more, wasn't he? 2 clear goals.
He took the -1 handicap, which is even money because City are quite short at 4-10. Vin Naidu saying under 2.5 goals at 15-10. Jose to park the double-decker bus on Sunday. And I guess that wouldn't be too surprising if Mourinho just comes there to play for the 0-0 or the hit-and-run 1-0 victory.
He's done it before, hasn't he? But, I mean, they're already 9 points behind City. How good a result would a draw be here? I guess from the point of view, just taking at face value, a draw away at City is great. But when you look at the league table and the fact that they're 9 points better off, they're still not in the top 4. Yeah, the other sides have got very winnable games like Liverpool, and I guess you could throw Chelsea into that similar sort of bracket. Look, a 2-2 draw at Chelsea not too long ago for United gives them some sort of encouragement, doesn't it? And last season they were 2-0 down in this fixture and won 3-2. I mean, City were as good as champions at the time. I think it only took another week or so before that became official. I fancy that United can contribute to the scoring, Brent. I looked at a few options again. Both teams to score, yes, was, I think, just under 7-10. So I shied away from that a bit. Anytime goal scorers. Martial's the man in form for Man U. 57-20 to score any time. I saw that price. If you like this market, what about David Silva? He's not prolific, but he's always involved, and I think he gives you a run because he pops up in such dangerous positions. If ever there was a market for an assist, David Silva would probably be your man. But what I settled on, Brent, was Man City to win, both teams to score, yes, at 14-10. So a similar sort of strategy to the Arsenal-Wolves game.
Yeah, so you're looking for goals in this one. A few of the boys on the live comments do feel that it could be quite a tight, low-scoring affair. Certainly, let's hope from an entertainment point of view we do get some goals. Chris, that brings us to the end of the English Premier League. What's your Premier League bet of the weekend, and also anything else you fancy in the local football?
Yeah, local football actually is probably a better bet than what I'm going to come up with in England. And again, we go back to our man Jeremy Brocky and his team Mamelodi Sundowns. They're at home to Pirates on Saturday afternoon at Loftus. That's the big game of the weekend locally. And for me, Pirates, well, it's the best two teams footballing wise in the league. Pirates are fantastic coming forward, but can't defend. I see both goals for both sides, and that was a shade over even money, and I like that one. I would make that my best bet of the weekend. If we're going back to England then, because that's what this show is all about, I think we'll go with Arsenal win and both teams to score as the best bet, Brent, at 7-4. And then, because that's maybe a little bit speculative, let's go with Spurs to score 2 or more goals at Palace at 15-20. We'll put those up as the best bets.
Right, excellent. Just ZA Painter saying, look at Sunbet for assist markets. That's interesting because I've never really looked.
Oh, really? Thank you.
They assist markets at Sunbet. And Yaku Okom saying Sunderland over 1.5 goals. I think he's asking you to tip another one of your 10-1 over 1.5 goals.
Well, yeah, I backed him the last 4 weeks to score 2 goals or more at times, and they've been either side of even money. So I'm well in front on Sunderland for a change for the first time in years. I'm well in front, but this week it's FA Cup, so I'm giving it a swerve because you just don't know really. They're away at Port Vale. I don't know much about Port Vale, in all honesty. I know a lot about Sunderland, but even then, I'm not sure whether we're going to rotate the squad because we're focusing on the league, Brent. We're focusing on the league. So I'm not gonna push my luck with Sunderland to score twice. Let's give them a week's holiday, and we come out flying against I don't know, it's Barnsley at home coming up or something like that. You know, some mouth-watering clash, as the presenters say.
League One. I must be honest, I didn't even realize Sunderland had dropped all the way down to League One.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the club was fixed up in terms of its finances, you wouldn't have bet against them going down to League Two as well. But we seem to have steadied the ship. We've got a sensible guy who's got a sensible squad. We got rid of some of the mercenaries. There's still maybe 1 or 2 hanging around, but they're playing well, and they're getting 30-odd thousand crowds, and that's fantastic for League One. And there's a bit of a feel-good factor that's returned, which hasn't been there, for so many seasons. So, yeah, let's hope that we'll be back up there in the Championship, and then before you know it, back up in the Premier League. But for now, I'm just enjoying League One. I'll happily take Accrington Stanley away rather than getting thumped at Liverpool or Chelsea.
Yeah, at least enjoy some positive results. Just quickly in closing, Chris, you previewed, I see on YouTube, one of the PSL games. Was it Pirates Sundowns or Sundowns Pirates?
That was the Pirates Sundown game. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try something now because I can put links to the shows on at the end. It won't be on the live show, but I'm going to say, if you want to watch Chris's preview of the Pirates Sundowns game, it's up there, or at least it will be later on. You can catch the handicap over there. And for details on all the competitions, go down here for GG Gaming. I'm going to try and get that right when I post all the videos at the end. Guys, thanks very much for those of you on the live chat. Been great having your contributions. And Chris, good chatting to you as always, and have a great punting weekend.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to all the lads for the comments and the assistance there with the tips. And yeah, good luck to everyone this weekend.
Excellent. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy the English Premier League and particularly the big Manchester derby.